Well, welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Excuse me. And I want to welcome everybody and let you guys know that this podcast is on Spotify. If you go to Spotify and look up Boyce Watkins, you'll find the Dr. Boyce breakdown. And I want to welcome everybody. And as you come in, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, what's up to everybody on Instagram? My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. I am not going to take a lot of your time. I have an appointment for two things. Two reasons why I'm not going to take a lot of your time today is one, it is my birthday. So pour it on me. Give me the happy birthdays. I definitely want, I'm definitely feeling good today. I am in the 27th anniversary of my 25th birthday. So I have been practicing being 25 years old for 27 years, and I've gotten really good at it. And then the other reason why I'm going to bounce out of here is that literally in 17 minutes, I'm going to do an interview with a very nice lady named Tasha K. Tasha K has a pretty big platform, and she interviewed my wife, and Tasha wanted to interview me. So I said, sure, absolutely. I'd love to talk to you, and I look forward to hearing what she would like to ask me. All right. So anyway, as we get started, thumbs up, share, subscribe. So let me talk to you. Let me let you guys know why I felt the need to come in and talk to you guys about this really quickly. Joe Biden's son, Hunter. Give me a yes in the chat if you know who Hunter Biden is. Give me a yes in the chat if you've heard anything about Hunter, if you know who Hunter Biden what he represents and why he's a controversial figure. There is here's a picture on the screen. Now, if you're on Spotify, you're not going to see the picture, but it's okay. Imagine a very nice looking Joe Biden clone who's sitting next to him with dark hair. Hunter Biden is Joe Biden's son, and he's a troubled son. He is a guy that is known for, he's known for having a peculiar taste in his crack. He likes his women and his crack. And Hunter has been an embarrassment for that family. I cannot imagine what his father and what his parents must go through. But yeah, we all got a little Pookie crackhead in our family. Not all of you. Hopefully you don't. But how many of you? Give me a yes or no if you've got somebody in your family who has been hit by drugs, who is embarrassing everybody, who is not doing what they need to do, not taking care of their kids. So you got to take care of their kids. All right. This is a common problem in many families. This is a very common issue. There's no shame in it. Drugs are terrible. This is one of the reasons why I've repeatedly said, I think Black people, if we want to build our community back, we have to be almost angrily, if not so much violently. I'm not condoning violence, but in terms of energetic violence, I really think that we should just be outraged when rappers are promoting drug addiction and drug use amongst our young people. It destroys your kids, it destroys your families, it destroys your wealth, because your wealth is in your children. So when you get a 17-year-old who thinks it's cool to pop mollies and Percocets and all that, and they're 17 years old and their brain has not yet fully developed, they're getting brain damage. Some of these rappers are close to death. Lil Wayne has literally said he's had seizures. He's also losing his memory at a very young age. So my point is to say that, man, y'all got to, really, you really got to take this drug thing seriously. And I don't know if anybody's ever gone through the pain of having a drug addict in your family. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I don't know what that crap be doing to y'all who like to smoke and all that. God bless you if you were able to walk away from drugs. But I'm gonna tell you, if you don't start none, it won't be none. Just don't try this stuff, man. But anyway, let me get off of that horse, because but that's how I feel. I'm very passionate about that, and that has a direct link to Black wealth. You cannot build wealth in a community full of drug addicts or alcoholics or people that don't want to pull their weight. We have to hold each other accountable, and that means really, really dealing with this issue head on. With that said, Hunter Biden, who is the family crackhead for the Biden family, he just basically pleaded guilty with the feds to resolve some issues involving his failure to pay taxes and also something involving a gun. Now, I'm sure there's other things going on with Hunter that they can pull up, but these are the two things that they chose to sort of deal with. And it says that he's reached a deal with the federal prosecutors to resolve a 5-year federal investigation under an agreement in a filing in federal court. President Joe Biden's son. Now, pay attention. It's in Delaware. Delaware is Joe Biden's stronghold. Joe Biden came out of Delaware. So how many of you think that being the president's son is going to get you a little bit of preferential treatment in a situation like this? Give me a yes if you think that being the son of the president is going to get you a little bit of a homie hookup when you go to court, especially in the state where your father once held a tremendous amount of power, even as a senator. And so I bring this up not because I'm picking at the Biden family, not because I want them, I want to, talk bad about them or to make fun of a family that's dealing with the tragedy of drugs. I bring it up because I want to ask y'all a question. Give me a yes or no. Do you think that whatever punishment Hunter Biden gets, do you think his punishment will be worse if he were black? Give me a yes or no if you think that Hunter Biden would get a worse punishment if he were a black man. Give me, what do y'all think? And I bring this up. I asked you this question because if you recall, Hunter's father, Joe, is the architect of one of the most notorious, most draconian, most destructive, most horrific, most nightmarish sets of drug laws in the history of this earth. He came up with these things called the three strikes laws, and some of y'all black representatives actually supported this nonsense. He came up with these three strikes laws, and I know brothers right now who ain't nearly as bad as Hunter Biden who are still sitting in prison from Joe Biden's drug laws. Still sitting in prison. Daughter ain't seen their daddy since 1997, not as a free man. And that's the pain that black people go through, and nobody cares about it. Even black people don't care about it. Even you're desensitized to your own pain. Why do I say that? Well, because when I bring this up, people think I'm being a troublemaker. When I bring this up, people think, oh, well, why are you rocking the boat, Doc? Why are you trying to mess up? You sound like a Republican, Doc. No, I say, no. I just want black people to be treated fairly. And I think it's wrong that you've got these laws that were applied directly and strictly to us with no empathy whatsoever, no understanding. The amount of empathy I just gave Joe Biden, I know for a fact he never would have gave that empathy to me. When I talk about what his family went through, if you read the history of the Biden family, everybody I talk about, I read their bio from the very beginning. If you read the history of the Biden family, this man has gone through tremendous amounts of tragedy. He has. His whole family, I think almost his entire family got killed in a car crash. I want to say 30 or 40 years ago. His wife and I think two of his kids. It was crazy. And then his other son died of, I think, brain cancer or something. This was the other son who wasn't on crack, who actually could have been president. And then he's left with Hunter. So this poor guy has gone through it. I respect him for what he has been able to overcome. I empathize with his pain. I get it. But here's the problem. Here's where I have an issue with a Joe Biden. The same amount of empathy I give you and your family for what you've gone through, I know you don't give that to black families. I know you don't, because when you gave that speech, if anybody wants to hear an interesting speech, go hear Joe Biden talk about these predators within the inner city with single parents, as he's sitting next to Strom Thurmond, one of the most notorious racists in the history of Congress, right? He's sitting next, he's who he calls his buddy, his mentor. He's sitting there talking about you like you're animals. And so the idea that people think I'm radical for bringing this up absolutely disgusts me. It bothers me that you think that there's something wrong with me when really we know that there's something wrong with him. And maybe the reason that you're afraid to call it for what it is because you're scared of white folks. Maybe you don't call it for what it is because your self-esteem is too low for you to demand true equality. Maybe you don't call it for what it is because you don't think that we can get what we deserve. We got to settle for whatever we can get. Well, I don't believe that. I don't believe that a white man should get better treatment than a black man. I don't believe that I should empathize with him and he can't empathize with me. I don't believe that his son should get a life sentence while my uncle or my daddy gets a big ass gangster sentence that has him in prison for the next 20 or 30 years. I think that's wrong. And so ultimately what I'm saying to you is that, this Hunter Biden thing, I guarantee you, I would be very shocked if he did any time in prison. Also, the fact that he's doing his little prison thing right now, and Donald Trump is doing his prison thing right now. Donald Trump is on trial. It tells you that your country's run by a bunch of criminals. You got criminals on your left or criminals on your right. You make a choice. I'm not going to tell you which choice to make. I'm choosing to not be involved in any of that. I'm not voting for Democrats or Republicans. I'm voting for black people. So everybody that comes in and says, oh, you must be a Republican, those are people that clearly are brainwashed or stupid, because I clearly have stated I don't vote for Republicans. However, the fact that you get mad when I don't vote for a Democrat means that you are engaged in voter suppression. You are engaged in voter suppression, because voter suppression isn't just telling black people they can't vote. Voter suppression is saying you can vote as long as you vote for who I tell you to vote for. Negro, you better do what we tell you to do. If you show up at the polls and you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. And this is the kind of nonsense that I refuse to accept. I will never accept anybody who tells me what I got to do when I go into the polls. You mind your own damn business. Your business is over there. My business is over here. Never shall the two ever meet. Anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I just got a call from Tasha K, so I think that she might be ready to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and do this interview in a minute, but I'm going to circle back around on this. And also, I want to mention this too. In case you ever want to know more of my thoughts on this, I wrote about this in 2006 or 2004, actually, in a book called What If George Bush Were a Black Man? George Bush, it reminds me a little bit of Hunter Biden, just a less severe version. George Bush was also the son of a president. George Bush was also a guy who messed around and got in trouble. George Bush was also a guy who made some mistakes in his life. And I wrote what if George Bush were a black man in 2004, because I said, isn't it funny that in this country, that when a white man and a black man commit the same crimes, the black man can have his life destroyed. The white guy might get a second chance. Isn't it funny that when you look at the trajectory of life based on choices, as a black man, I always felt that my margin of error was 2 inches wide, that if I got out of line a little bit, I could end up doing 10, 20, 30 years in prison and nobody would care. Whereas if I'm a white boy, I can go out here, get drunk, go to parties, act a fool, get in trouble, do all kinds of stuff, and people might be willing to give me another chance. I always thought about when I was on the faculty at Syracuse University, I thought it was really interesting how these white college kids would have parties every weekend, and they would have all kinds of drugs and alcohol and all kinds of stuff going on their campus. And I said, isn't it funny that they will run up in the hood and they will raid a housing project and then send these black boys to prison forever? But then they've never raided a college campus that I know of. I can't think of the last time. I don't remember any time I was at Syracuse University. I was on the faculty for 12 years, 12 or 13. I can't remember. I don't even think about that anymore. But I was on that faculty for more than a decade, and never once did I ever see the popos run up in there and bust down the door with those, those big ass door busters they use. Like, they got those military weapons they use on our people where they traumatize the children, busting. I have a friend in Kansas City who said that the police 2 times raided her grandmother's house when she was 7, and they didn't even do anything wrong. Grandma wasn't selling no crack. They didn't have no dope in the house. The police busted through the door with those little whatever they call those things. And then they came in, put guns to the head, like pointed guns at the children, and tore the entire house to pieces. And then when they realized they didn't have any drugs in the house, the kids are scared to death. They're screaming. They're traumatized for life. Then when they realized they were wrong, you know what they did? They just said, oh, sorry, and then left them to clean up the mess. You got to get a new door now. You got to go fix your couch because they don't cut holes in the furniture. You got to go clean up all this mess that they made. Battering ram. Thank you for what they call. I call it door buster. Battering ram. That's what it is. So I just really think that you have to have more grace for yourself. That's my point. My point in bringing up Hunter Biden is not because I want to pick at the Biden family. I don't even care about that. I want to remind you to have grace for yourself and also to increase your self-esteem a little bit. You deserve the same treatment that white people get. You deserve the same opportunities white people get. You deserve the same wealth white people get. So anything that you ask me to accept as a voter, if white people are not accepting the same thing, then I don't want it. If white people are showing up at the polls and demanding something for their vote, well, I want something too. Whatever white people can ask for, I can ask for that also. Do not put me in the Negro box. Stop that. Stop that, because that means you are just as much of an accomplice to racism and racial inequality as any member of the KKK. So that's my 2 cents, guys. That's really the big thing I wanted to share. I got to get out of here. I got to go do this Tasha K thing. By the way, my new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It is on Amazon. It is a bestseller. Feel free to go take a look at that. Second of all, on BoyceWatkins.com, there's a training that everybody loves called How to Make Money Without Working. My PhD's in finance. I would love to show you some of that. So feel free to go take a look at that. It's totally free. It won't take long. It'll change your life. And then number 3, the All Black National Convention is happening in October in Atlanta, October 20th. If you'd like to learn more, I put it all on my website, BoyceWatkins.com, but you can also go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's where B1 people, intelligent black people from around the world get together and we solve our own problems. We must solve our own problems. We must come up with our own solutions. We must lean on our own scholars. We must support our own businesses. We must educate our own children. We can do all these things. We have everything that we need. The biggest thing that we need is to get together and come together and support each other. If we do that, then we cannot be stopped. That is what we're going to do at the All Black National Convention, October 20th in Atlanta. allblacknationalconvention.com, or you can go to boycewatkins.com. I put the information there to make it easy for you. Anyway, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. This podcast is on Spotify. Just look me up on Spotify if you want to just listen as opposed to watch. I got to go and hang out with Tasha K for a little bit. I will check in with y'all later. Have a good day. Love you. Peace.